Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Conversation on Localization. We're going to just take a little bit of a slow start as people are coming in, but I just wanted to welcome everybody here. We're really excited to have you. I hope everyone is aware that 21st of June, in 2 days, is World Localization Day. If you don't already know about it, I highly encourage you to go to the Local Futures website. They have some excellent materials. They've got some great brief animation videos, which have also been translated into multiple languages. They have a fantastic film. It's worth the hour or so to watch it, called The Economics of Happiness. So again, please do visit the Local Futures website. There are events around the world happening throughout June, but especially on the 21st on World Localization Day. And you can learn more about different efforts around the world to encourage people to resist the ugliest aspects of globalization in terms of the billionaire overreach and the rule of the giant corporations, and to again work on building strong, resilient local communities where we know our neighbors, we work together, we support each other, we buy from local shops, we go to the farmers market, the local economy is thriving, and where we rein in instead of continuing to subsidize the major corporations. So, with that note, I would like to say just a couple words about Car Free Cities Alliance before I turn to our speakers. We've got three different presentations from different parts of the world. We're very excited to have such a diverse group of presenters, but I'll introduce them later. First, wanted to say Car Free Cities Alliance, as the name says, we are an alliance where people who understand that our cities would be vastly better with fewer or no cars and motorbikes, we come together to discuss how we can help move towards that kind of city, how we can fight the global corporations that are what I call the three-headed monster of cars, fuel, and roads that are pushing governments to build ever more roads, have ever more cars, pollution, congestion, all the problems. So if you're interested in Car Free Cities Alliance, we do have regular webinars. We've got a newsletter you can subscribe to. You can go to our website. We have regular meetings. We offer support to our members. We'd love to have you officially with Car Free Cities Alliance. And if we have questions, we will have a Q&A at the end. But as I said, we've got three presentations. We're starting with Nepal. We'll then go to Bangladesh and then Canada. And hopefully we've got a person from Pakistan who's going to share some information from there. So I'm going to first introduce, my name is, by the way, sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Deborah Ephraimson. I'm with Car Free Cities Alliance. And I used to be in Bangladesh for a long time. I'm now in New Mexico in the United States. Our first speaker is Sal Shrestha, who is also on the core group of the Car Free Cities Alliance. Sal is an amazing campaigner for Car Free Cities. And with that very brief introduction, I'm going to turn it over to you, Sal.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Hello, everyone. I am Sal Shrestha. I am based in Kathmandu, and I have been part of CCA for about 10 years now. And I'm going to talk about our work in Nepal and how our work in Car Free initiatives and conversions of street as a community space from traffic-oriented reality into a realization of a multifunctional community space that it can be or that it was in the past, and how this globalization mindset or the monoculture of our minds have taken over our realities and limited our imaginations into what kind of life we can lead and how it impacts us. I'm going to share about a bit of the recent work we are doing. So as part of TVI and as part of CCA, Digo Vikas Institute that I'm part of, we have been working in communities around Nepal, in different parts of Nepal, in eastern Nepal, in the central capital city, interacting with neighborhoods and discussing about not just what streets can be, but also about the kind of future that we see. And usually, in the recent conversations, also, one of the conversations that we had with the community was about what kind of future that we want to hand over to our next generation. So one of the interactions that we had was about do we see our next generations aspiring to live in their own neighborhood? Are we hopeful that the next generation is going to stay in their own neighborhood? And this is a very serious question for all the towns, all the neighborhoods, and all the villages in Nepal, because most of us as adults see it hard even to imagine or even to ask or hope our next generation to stay with us. And one of the reasons for that is because with this globalization of mindset, our aspirations have also been globalized, internationalized, and in that case, the kind of education that we are introduced to and the way of life that the media is exposing us to, being contained in your own neighborhood has become something that is not aspired to. That is why when we are doing interactions in the community, we usually begin with, do you see a next generation hoping to or being pride in their own neighborhood? So usually those interactions leads us to like, why is it that our next generation aren't connected to the neighborhood, do not know anybody in the neighborhood, and so on. And what is the reason why the connections or the close-knit communities one generation ago is no more that way? What has caused the defragmentation of the network, community network that used to be so strong and vibrant, that so many wonderful stories and festivals and rituals were building up, but now it is being very hard even to maintain those rituals. So one of the questions, only a few days ago, I had in an interaction with the community that came out was, how many years or how long does it take for the body, for a human body to decay after the spirit is gone? That was a question that came out in the community and interactions. And what I was trying to refer to is that when we are working with the communities about the prosperity, about aspirations of a better neighborhood, most of the time, the local government and the community members, we all focus on physical infrastructures, roads, and most of the time it is a wide road that can afford all the community members to afford private vehicles and big concrete buildings and so forth. And a little bit of conversion from that, at least in Nepali communities, is there is a bit of sense of place which is now different from previous generation, is also aspiring to have architecture and building designs that are more traditional instead of asphalt, concrete, copy-paste designs. But at the same time, when we talk about, do you see your children aspiring to stay in the same neighborhood? Most of the time, parents are not sure. And they can't even, I see they being scared even to hope that they do, because the schooling system and the media and everything aspires us to be internationalized. If you are imagining a business, then it has to be international. Your goal is to make it international. If you are aspiring for education, then the whole mindset that comes from a colonized mindset, which says that the knowledge is not in the community, but it is somewhere out there in higher education, and one of the best higher education institutions are somewhere abroad in the West, maybe in US or UK or somewhere else. So even if you want to aspire to be a well-learned person, then you aspire to go abroad for education. So I asked, so in the conversation I asked, how does that impact our aspiration? If our next generation is not aspired to stay in the community, then what is it that we're building the community for? Or will the spirit of the neighborhood sustain once our next generation is no more in the community? So my reference to human body and its sustainability after the loss of spirit was about what will happen to the neighborhood. And part of the conversation was to aspire, or was to direct the community to discuss, is there space for children to experience community? Or why is it that the next generation is stuck in phone and technologies? Do we have, as an adult, done justice to the next generation to fulfill their social needs? Is it that the kids don't want to be socialized, or are they finding digital platforms to socialize because their social needs are not being addressed in physical reality? So these questions are to inspire what happens once traffic takes over the street of the community. And these kind of long, slow conversations, deep interactions with the community has had communities to interact on not just what we can do this Saturday, or what can we do a party event, but can we aspire to build up a conversation and to build up a future where children's present generation and future generations have a strong connection in the community that can hold us to the place. So what has happened in very few days, in fact 2 weeks of our interaction in 2 new communities, where we have then tried few car-free open space pop-up sitting rooms, pop-up play spaces for children. Suddenly there is interaction between children who have not met each other before, and then their parents start interacting, and they see that there is what could have happened to a street which was usually a traffic, chaotic area where they were not able to imagine anything else happening. So what has happened is, after streets that were social spaces, that were networks of community places that were taken by traffic, after the community realizes that those spaces had multifunctional purposes that were used traditionally for festivals, for interactions, for drying crops, and many other traditional professions that have also
Child,
lost.
2 minutes.
Thank you. So these kind of interactions has helped us rethink how our aspirations or future has lost its roots with the local reality, and how reclaiming the community space that streets are can help us reconnect the next generation with the community. And I think once we can do that, once the next generation feels pride and realizes the unique asset of their own neighborhood, then the future of this next generation, the future of next generation can localize. And with that, then the localization of the economy, localization of all other aspects of our reality can then follow suit. So what is happening in some of these communities is they are already talking about, oh, we need to plan for farmers market, which can then be primarily addressed to local communities, local farmers. We can aspire for locally produced products in different categories that can also be part of the car-free conversion of the neighborhood. So once the spirit of the community gets localized, then the economy can follow suit. So that is how that is my experience of, or our experience of working in the community to begin with, localizing the spirit, and then how the economy and everything else can follow suit. So that I think that is my experience about how localizing and car-free conversion plays an interconnected role. And I'd like to listen to others and also be part of the following interactions later. Thank you very much for the time, Debra. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Sal. That was great to hear. I know that this is a common complaint of older people, that what's going wrong with the younger generation, but it is certainly true that there have been major, major changes in the last 10, 15 years, even with all the technology that's come in. People who are now addicted to their phones don't talk to each other. And I think one of the beauties of the car-free street events and the whole idea of reducing cars in cities and allowing people to reclaim the outdoors is that we create much more social cities. We fight the isolation and loneliness that so many people are suffering from. We know that we've got a huge climate crisis. It's going to take community resilience to address that. And that involves knowing and trusting other people in your community. Super important. And that question that Sal mentioned of, do your children plan to stay in the same community where there might be generations and generations in the same place? I met someone recently who said his family went back either 7 or 12 generations, I can't remember, in here in New Mexico. That's, more and more unusual, and that need to be rooted in place and resist the corporate idea that we all are the same around the world. We'll all buy the same products from them, live the same lifestyles. We need to resist that. And that's what localization is all about. So thank you so much for that, Sal. I'm now going to hand it over to two presenters from Bangladesh. They're both from the Institute of Wellbeing in Bangladesh, which I'm a co-founder of. And I'm happy to see other people here also from Institute of Wellbeing. So we're going to first hear from Shapla Khatun and then from Mahmoud, I can't even pronounce his name today, Mahmoudul Hassan. And I will let you just, if you want to say anything quickly about yourself, but you've got 10 minutes total for your presentation. So Shapla, please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Can you please share the PDF? Well, good evening, everyone. Myself, Ms. Shapla Khatun, and my teammate, Mr. Mahmoudul Hassan. Today, we are going to present about our localization. As you all know that whenever we are talking about localization, globalization hits there. So now, you might know, globalization has caused mass damage in the world over the last several decades in different ways. But there could be one solution. That is, we can greatly improve the climate crisis, human and planetary health, economic and social well-being by changing our focus to localization. Now, the question might come, what exactly is localization? So, I can say localization is opposite of globalization. Like, let's say, it doesn't mean that you are totally disconnect from the world. It's mean like localization focus on local cultures, local wealth, local economy, and more like we can say it can strong our economy, local economy. So mainly we can say localization is such a process that with localization, each community focuses on their own resources, access what is needed and close by. As a result, it not only can make a powerful local economy, but also it can promote healthier life, less pollution, and a more stable climate, and many other advantages. So now you can see the picture on this slide here. Three pictures are presented. So mainly how these things, or like how it can promote local economy. Well, I'm giving a specific example of three things. Like on the context of Bangladesh, if you can see, the people of Bangladesh more likely they don't want, nowadays they are adapting more over the Western culture. Think about a specific dress. Nowadays they don't want our traditional dress like lungi or shari, these kind of dresses. They feel like if they are wearing this, that means they are not cool enough, they are not smart enough. They want more and more like t-shirt or top or like jeans, this type of dress. But it's good that we are adapting or like we are learning from other culture or other dresses, but when we are replacing our one with them, then it's become bad because we are losing our own identity. Same way for about the food habits and all the other things. Day by day we are like more habituated with the food for other countries like pizza, burger. Some of them even pretend that they don't even like those food, but still they are saying that no, this is their favorite. Because whenever you are talking about our own food and own things, even they feel that no, you are so lame because you don't know about these things. This is the things. One pathetic, I would say, like very unfortunate example is that whenever we are doing so many programs in different areas, we found that there are small kids. They came, and when we asked about the quiz competition and every like little question about localization or all the other things, they said that they don't know Bangla because in their house their parents, they ask them not to speak in Bengali because it's not good for them, it's not smart enough to talk in their own language. They should speak in English because it looks them, smarter, and like they are it's upgraded their status. But that should not be the way, because day by day if this things is happening, we will lose our own culture, own language, own identity. So that's the things. Now talking about another importance of localization, that is like what is going on exactly. So in this picture you can see like the roads that is dominated by the car. If I can say specifically in Dhaka city, very few people have access, have capability to buy cars. But all the other people, they don't even have the money to buy. But if you just go on the roads, you can see a lot of cars, because one family, if there are 5 members, they have more than 5 cars. But only because of their happiness, but other people are these, like other people are the sufferers here. So even think about the corporation things. They are, just one example is that for they are cutting trees in the cities area. It's because they want the roads and roadsides area to look pretty. The irony is that they are cutting trees, but they are drawing those trees in the roadside walls. So that's the things, like how they wants to promote these things. So there are a lot of corporation that they are polluting our water level. Even we have some canals and all those things that also like full of garbages like plastic bags and all the other things. Whenever we are talking about these things, maybe one small people, if you say one single people that why you are using this plastic bag, their answer is one plastic bag cannot have this impact. But
Shaka,
that's the
one
reason like
minute.
why
You have one more minute. Then we need to hand over.
Okay, fine. So
Good.
what IWB did, because of talking about these things, IWB have a lot of actions. Like first, let's see this picture. We have localization exhibition, and then local game, and then local cultural program in the village area. That's this showing. We let village people to know that what exactly we can do by localization. Next, please. This is another one. What we are doing in cities area, we need to know the value of this localization, so that we are doing different seminars, different exhibition, showing different culture, especially indigenous people. Next, please. This is another one. Throughout the schools we went there, we do have bad poster presentation. We do have exhibition of different things that we lost, because we need to let those people know that what is the value of those things, and why we need to reserve these things, and why we need to protect our environment, our nature, and whatever resources we have on those area. Next, please. And finally, here we have another action that is like we are throughout the social media. What we are doing, we are like promoting we are spreading our message through social media that we need to be aware enough. We need to know that those people that what exactly we need to do. So throughout these things, what we did, we have different quiz competition. I mean, different context. Our blog writing or like report writing. Sometimes like talk shows. Through these things we let those people know that why localization is important, why through these local things, how can we regain our local economy. It can make our economy strong, and day by day we can save our mother earth. So that's all from my side. Mahmoudul Hassan, you can go next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next slide. Thanks for the opportunity. This is Mahmoudul Hassan from Institute of Wellbeing Bangladesh. So, Priya, can we change slide? So, IWB success. IWB successfully engaged a large number of students in the localization or related events. We promoted the concept in the localizations around 1,000 peoples, 1,000 students. As a result, students gain it a basic concept about the localizations and understand what localization means. For example, we organized a bird poster exhibition showcasing. We see that in their lifestyles of local birds. So initially, students were aware of these bird and the don't value of this importance. But after the attending exhibitions of the students, they expressed and commitment to the protect of them and preserving local birds species, and because it's a parts of our biodiversity. Next slide, please. So another thing is we see this the village people are enjoying this localization event. So uh, we know that the village peoples that traditionally lives a simple life and local lifestyle, but nowadays they think that about our urban life better than village life, but they often feel their agricultural lifestyle is not value. But IWB works to help them to realize the strengths of their way of life. Village communities enjoy their organic food, low pollution, and clean environments. So they have to opportunity to sell their own crops in local market. This is the most part of the local economy and localizations. So this is the positive response in the sign of the IWB success in the promoting the value of the village life. Next slide, please. So first of all, I said that Work for a Better Bangladesh Trust, another inspiring organization, has taken a great initiative by connecting the local farmers to who producing the chemical-free organic food. This farming these farmers sell directly to customers, building trust and the fair trade. And customers are happy to buy this product without hesitation, knowing also they knowing that about that there is a healthy and safe. So IW also working. Another thing is the IW also working the cyclist community to promote how to our promote our bicycle to better transportation in urban cities, because of we know the in Dhaka city or other cities the day by day increase the car, and we are facing so many problems like a traffic jam, air pollution, sound pollution. So uh, IWB also promoting bicycle. This is the they're saying our cyclist community. This is the best on solution. This if we promote the bicycle, this is a part of the kind of localization, and also this is part of the car-free solution. So another is next slide, please. So importance of the indigenous peoples in localization. We said that if we think about the how to live in harmony with nature, we should look at the lifestyle in the indigenous peoples. They live closely with nature and respect nature resource. So their way to protecting, producing food in the nature and sustainable. So we truly want to live and promote the localization. So we need to live close to nature. We must learn from and follow the indigenous way to life. That's why this is the indigenous people is a localized so important if we promote the localization. So this is the thing of next slide, please.
1 more minute, Mamadou.
Yeah. This on me. So another thing is, please next slide. I didn't see the slide. So another thing is last slide is it has how to we are our next IWB want to read. So we want to against the harmful industries, who are the uh, environment pollution and the who are the facing the problem. We see the climate crisis, so many problems in our world. So we know there's the three-headed monsters like that. Fuel companies, car industry, and road transport. So if we against of them, which one of the most problem we can solutions. So we stand with our youth students and we stand with them against our in the worldwide harmful industries. This is my presentation. Thank you so much. Listening me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mamadou.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shapla and Hassan. We're sorry we had to cut you short, but we want to make sure we have plenty of time for all of our speakers. I guess we had a little technical problem with the slides,
Yeah.
but there's always a technical problem. Sorry about that. Thank you so much. There's so much going on in Bangladesh. I know you didn't have much time to talk about it, but the partner organization of Institute of Wellbeing, Work for Better Bangladesh, has started 16 farmers markets a couple of years ago. I think 13 are still operating. There's all kinds of events we do every year for the last few years. We celebrate World Localization Day. I think I'm not doing it this year, but in the past, I've gotten articles in the newspaper about it. We certainly have the social media, but the outreach to students, getting people involved. We've had some great webinars and in-person seminars and exhibitions. And as Hassan mentioned, I think Shapla also, the indigenous cultures so much wisdom to share with us about how we could live much, much deeper, fuller lives. And this corporate mentality of the more you own, the happier you are is destructive of community. It's destructive of our environment. It's destructive of society. And I'm not going to say any more about that. I'm going to hand it over to Friba to introduce our final speaker today, who I'm super excited to hear. So go ahead, Friba.
Thank you, Deborah. I have met Lucy in some events here, and anytime I see her, I make sure I go to her and hug her. Sorry, my English, hug her. Lucy is an Indigenous elder and community leader here in Vancouver Island. She has been a key figure in important community initiatives, including the local street name changes, reconciliation murals, and the cultural component of the North American Indigenous Games. Besides, she is deeply rooted in her culture and values. Lucy is passionate about community food security and serves proudly on the board of Cowichan Green Community. Lucy's life and work are guided by resilience and the power of community. She continues to inspire others by creating space for healing, cultural pride, and reclaiming of Indigenous voices and stories. Currently, Lucy serves as the Employment and Training Service Coordinator at the House of Friendship. Lucy, thank you so much for being here today. The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, good morning. I didn't realize how big this meeting was going to be. Have people from all over. So I feel very honored to be part of your day today. I have to tell you, I wrote my speech like 5-6 times, hoping to capture, the interest of the audience. So I'm told I'm a good storyteller, so here it goes. My Hunkleminum name is Dim Quad. I share that name with 5 other people in BC. So when we share our name, the elders in the audience will know where we come from. They know the name very well. They would say, oh, she comes from the Charlie family. So that is my mother's maiden name. So that's where my Hulkaminum name comes from. My English name is Lucy Thomas. I am a survivor of many things. I went to residential school, and I also remember way back in the day when I was a little girl walking around in my community before I was sent to residential school. I recall seeing big signs of no Indians allowed on restaurant windows and doors, and doctors' offices and the bars, the theaters, the ferries. We were very limited to what we could do back in the 1950s and 60s. And that wasn't too long ago, if you think about it. I got sent to residential school in 1968, and I didn't leave there till 1966. I didn't leave there till 1973. So I only got to spend summers with my family. And if you think about being away from your family for 10 months out of the year, you go home to strangers. So when I graduated and I had to stay home, I had a hard time fitting in with my own family because I didn't know my culture, my teachings, my traditions, my ceremonies. So walking into my family, I realized, oh, here's another challenge. I just got over residential school, not having family around me, to come home to have family around me and to not be noticed. So I really had to work hard to get noticed in my community and with my family. I was a lucky young girl. I had elders all around me. If you hear the teaching, we have one teaching that says, it takes a village to raise a child. My aunties and uncles, if they seen me doing something wrong, they could come over and correct me. And I couldn't get mad because it was family. That's what that comment meant, is that the whole community watches you. I would go to town, and if I was to do anything crazy, it would get back to my grandma before I got home because our family was well known. So I would get home and she'd say, were you trying to steal from the store? And I'd go, no. And she'd go, I heard about it already. So she would sit me down and talk to me about that. So word got around real fast. Our community, I have lots of aunties and uncles here. One thing an elder asked me is, what do you want to leave behind as your legacy? You know, when I first heard about residential school, I was angry. And I didn't want people, my family, to talk about me being angry. I wanted them to say, Lucy's respectful. Lucy's very honest. Lucy walks her talk. So I had to make changes in my life from being an angry residential school survivor who has racism happen almost on a daily basis, maybe 10 times a day sometimes. I've really changed my life around. And it seems like once I started to not be angry and I started listening to other people's stories of pain, I realized we're not the only people in pain. First Nations people are not the only people in pain. There's pain all over the world. My story is different from your story, but you know what? It's still pain. There's still racism out there, even by the look, the tone of voice, how they walk. So it's out there. And it's, you know, we gotta try and change that. One story I wanted to share about way back in our day is our elders always used to talk about change. They used to really be connected to the animals. My grandfather would say, "There's lots of bees out. Do you know what that means?" And I'd go, "No." And he'd say, "That means there's going to be a lot of fish this year." I go, "Oh." And if he's seen other animals, he would relate it to what's going on in our community. And then I often heard elders say, "You know what? We're going to lose our fish. We're going to lose our waters. We're going to lose animals. Animals are not going to know where they live anymore." So they predicted this would happen. It's happening today. Bears are walking into our yards now. I don't even think they've slept. They walk around in our yards, the cougars. So we have animals that are displaced and they don't know where to go. We are living in their space too. But I woke up one morning, my family was all happy and excited. They went fishing overnight. I looked out in our yard, there was a big pile of fish, 500, 600 fish. The whole family would go out there and start preparing, cutting, hanging up on a rack so that we could smoke it, and cutting it up so we can put it in jars and can it. It would take about 2 or 3 days for us to do that. Today, we don't get any fish. I think the last time we got fish was about 2 years ago, and that was 5. 5 fish every family member got, compared to 500, 600 that would last us for the year. My grandmother had a smokehouse. That's where she would prepare the fish. She had it filled with jars. We had a lot of fruit trees around here, apple trees, plum trees. She would jar all year round, and our pantry was filled with that. She never had to go to the store. If she did, she only needed to buy flour, sugar, and baking powder. Everything else we lived off the land. We had clams, crabs, fish, deer, elk. So, and the jams are preservatives. So she hardly ever had to go to store. Hardly ever. And you know what? I'm always talking about how our elders were a long time ago. My grandma never got sick. I never ever seen my grandma in bed sick. I never ever heard her say she's got sore joints, she's got a headache, nothing like that. Today, I hear that often, and a lot from my own self. I think it's from all the stuff they put in the foods today to keep it fresh. Um, I'm not even looking at my notes here, but I remember asking my grandma, "How was it when in your day, when you were a teenager?" And she says, "You know what? I remember horse and carriage. No roads, no paved roads, all dirt roads." She says, "I remember that." And I looked outside one day and there was trucks going up and down our Allenby Road. And she says, "What the heck are they doing?" So her son ran out to find out, and they said, "We're paving a road for you." And she said, "For what?" And they said, "For cars." So that's when she seen a car for the first time. So she says, "I remember that." And then it just got too big and too out of hand. 1 or 2 cars would drive by. Now there's hundreds that drive by. We are so polluted in our air and our waters. If you look at our waters, there's barely anything in there. It looks like a creek. Doesn't look like a river.
Lucy, my dear, I
Yeah.
I could listen to your story all afternoon, but just a quick reminder, you have 2 minutes left.
I was waiting for that.
Thank you.
Okay, I will end with where I work at, the Friendship Center. I really believe that's where I did a lot of growing up. The government would not like me right now because I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't support all those, alcohol and drug stores that they run here. So they would not like me. But right now, we're promoting start your own garden, start shopping locally, go to the farmer's market, go to the market in the street on Saturdays, buy local. You know, we don't need to go to those fancy stores and pay top dollar for veggies and fruit if we can grow it ourselves. So we just finished a construction, landscaping, basic gardening program, and they loved it, and I loved it. So when I promote, you know, I will go try it myself, and then when I promote it, I go, you know what it feels like when you put your hands in the dirt? It feels good. You feel like a kid again. So that's what we need to do is start promoting healthy lifestyles. Start your own garden. We don't need to go out there and buy those expensive vegetables and fruit. So thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank
That
you.
was a fascinating story, and I'm sure it'll resonate with all of us thinking about the communities in which we've grown up and the stories we've heard in, you know, in various ways and so on. It was very powerful, and you're serving a very powerful contribution to your community there based on your own life experiences. I want to applaud you for that, and thank you for telling it so eloquently.
Yeah.
May I hand back to Deborah?
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. I want to second that. I was watching people's faces while you spoke, Lucy, and I could see the response. I think for so many people, your story is truly international, that people from different countries grew up in not hopefully having to go to that horrible boarding school, but grew up in the kind of communities where people did look after each other. And that's the kind of thing we're trying to rebuild with the Car-Free Cities Alliance. Thank you. That was absolutely beautiful, so beautifully spoken. And I hope you'll honor us at an event. I'm happy to see that Alex Jensen from Local Futures is here, because I think Lucy's a great person for Local Futures to connect with. I did want to hand it over to Layla from Pakistan. If you're prepared to speak, Layla, before we open it up to the general audience. Layla was an intern with us at the Institute of Wellbeing. She's got a film company in Dubai, but she has some great stories to share about Indigenous knowledge in Pakistan.
Uh, Hi everyone. My apologies. I was stuck in a traffic. I missed a lot of, I guess, a lot of amazing talks, and I was not prepared for this talk, but I'll just share, uh, my experience. And Lucy, I relate a lot with your story. I left home, very young, and was studying. In the cities, and then I went to Bangladesh for 5 6 years, and when I went back I felt a cultural shock in my own country. So I totally understand what was going on in your mind when you went back home. And as you did, I explored a lot of the the indigenous practices that used to be very prevalent when we were growing up, which were very common. But as with the globalization and with everything else, they started disappearing. And one of the a very interesting topic that I am currently working on is a glacier marriage. Basically, the community are making new glaciers to make sustainable water resources. So this practice has been going on for centuries. Like when we talk about water scarcity now, they were facing it back then, and they built a natural, sustainable source to make these glaciers, grow them as their own kids. Like when we talk about indigenous communities, their relationship with nature is on a whole different level. It's not very transactional. It is both ways. It's like we we kind of support each other. We live we support each other and we benefit each other, and that's how we learn so many indigenous ways of living in these remote areas. And this particular practice, glacier marriage, so these communities identify glaciers as a male glacier and a female glacier. So they celebrate a marriage ceremony, and they bury it above, like 4,000-5,000 above on the mountain, on a village which needs water. And they pray for the success of the marriage, and they sing a song for the new baby glacier. And if it's successful, the glacier grows to be an adult glacier, which takes like years to actually happen. And we know all these indigenous practices are not shortcuts. It's not like we need to accelerate it, but it grows like naturally, and it grows with its own pace. So these glaciers, they take roots for 14 years, but after 5 years of the marriage, it started giving water. But after 14 years, you start seeing the glacier coming out from different spots on the mountain. And in 20 years and 50 years, it starts growing up to be an adult glaciers. And we have glaciers that are centuries old, that were groomed by the local community. And there are stories of women who actually groomed many of the glaciers. So I really appreciate this group that bringing in these people who are active in their local communities, in bringing these stories. And I strongly believe we need to revert back. We need to step back and connect with our roots, because what we are seeing the world, the consumerism is not helping us or the world, the earth itself. And I sometimes laugh at how we were tricked into this illusion that if we study, if we do good jobs, if we earn good money, we will be well off. But now we are earning and then buying the same stuff we could just grow at our home, and we would be happy with the nature. But now we are away earning money to buy the same stuff, which is causing a lot of health problems, which is causing a lot of stress. And I think we were tricked, and it was the biggest lie we could ever see in our lives again. So thank you so much, Debra. That's it. I was not prepared for this talk, but I appreciate you for giving me this chance.
Thank you so much, Lila. I'm so happy you joined us. And I love the fact that we have people from, as Lucy pointed out, from around the world. And I think some very, very similar experiences. I'm going to hand it over to Andrew to take the Q&A. You're welcome to put a question or comment in chat. You're also welcome to raise your hand, either physically or use the raising hand emoji. And if you have things you want to contribute to this conversation, we'd really like to open it up. As I said, this is a conversation about localization, so we'd really love to hear comments from other people. So Andrew, it's all yours.
Thanks, Deborah, and thanks to all the presenters for these wonderful stories and fascinating ideas, and just resonating with all of us, giving us renewed enthusiasm for our work. So thank you. I want to open the floor now, as Deborah said, for any questions that you might have. If you have experiences that are similar to what you've heard, or any kind of experiences that you'd want to share with us, please, now is your opportunity. Just raise your hand, or you can post it in the chat.
Did see that Justin did a question for Lucy. Did you want to ask Justin?
Yes, Justin?
Sure, I can read it out. So I wanted to ask Lucy. I would like to hear anything else you would like to say about how roads and motorization has changed or affected your community. And you touched upon that, but if you have anything else you want to say or anything in the wider context, and then you also mentioned your notes, and I know that you were had to be cut off because of the time. But if you have anything else interesting that you'd like to share with us, I'm sure we have a few more minutes. I would love to hear just a little bit more from what you were planning on saying. So that was my question.
Okay, there is one other story I was going to share. You know, you hear about our medicines, how we look at our herbal medicines. We are now starting to grow our own. The House Friendship has a garden down the road in one of our cousins' big lot. So we have a garden. But when I was initiated into one of our ceremonies, I had really bad allergies. A good friend of my grandmother's gave me this drink. And I'm not kidding. I did not have allergies for 15 years. Nothing for 15 years just from that drink. And it was 2 herbs. My allergies came back really bad. So I had people up the mountain looking for the other herb. They can't find it. They've logged, they've taken all the trees down. Where we used to go for our cold baths in the mountain in the wintertime is no longer there. And that's where the medicine was. So we've looked all over BC pretty much, and it's non-existent. So when I share that, people go, wow, that's how much they've logged your area. I say, yes. Cowichan has lost so much that, a lot of roads are still gravel roads. We don't have a lot of paved roads on our reserve. So there's a hill that I have to go up, and it's pretty bumpy. And I keep asking, because I'm an elder, can somebody please fix that road? It's going to do damage to my car. But they don't have the money to fix the road. Where I live at, we have a flood zone. They won't spend the money to help us keep our area safe. So they would just go out there and put logs up or something, something real simple and not too expensive. But we're still going through stuff like that around here on our reserve. So Cowichan is in an emergency crisis with housing. We've been that way since 2013. So nobody can get a new house unless they can go to the bank and get a loan and start paying for it themselves that way. A lot of our people don't have good jobs like I do. So it's really a struggle still around here. And every time they change government, we go right back to square one. Every time they change government. So I don't know how it is for everybody else if you're still struggling for housing, shelter. Trying to read the note there. Yeah, so anyway, those were the other things I wanted to talk about with our housing crisis.
Lucy, very quickly, that's interesting, and I think that there are struggles that probably resonate alongside yours in many countries. Just quickly off the side, can you tell me what those 2 herbs were? Can you remember what the 2 herbs were that stopped your allergies?
Nobody knows what the second one, the name of it, but they know what it looks like.
What was the first one?
The only one I know is mylan. We have mylan around here, lots of it, but we need that one other herb that nobody can remember the name, but they know what it looks like. If I could get a picture of it, now that I got friends all over the world, one of my friends might have that herb in their backyard.
I'm sure there's someone here that could possibly assist with that, and then I'd also like to know the answer.
Yes,
Lucy,
I'll look for a picture.
There's another question for you, Lucy, from, I could read it out, or perhaps Andrew Williams could pose the question himself.
Sure.
Yeah. Hi, Lucy. Wonderful to hear you sharing your experience. It's extremely motivating. I live in a city, and we do have indigenous communities in cities, the fishermen, etc., who are grappling with the development that's happening in the city. So my question to you is, as an indigenous person, when would an indigenous person accept that development should be accepted over local traditions and practices? At what point can you really say that it's necessary to accept development, and at what point would you say, no, we will resist it? So that's my question. I just wanted to add that we've also started growing medicinal herbs in our church garden. So thank you for your story as well. I mean, it enthuses us that many people across the world are now doing that. But please carry on to answering my question. I would really love to hear the answer to that.
That requires a lot of thought there. That's a tough question. Well, we are a friendship center, so the only thing we would be developing around here is, oh no, I shouldn't say that. We have a house for honorable mothers. We also have a daycare that was built. So I think it really depends on the need in the community. One of the things we really need around here are low rentals. A lot of our people struggle, not just First Nations people from all over. Like back in the 60s, we only had 5 homeless people we could count. We could count them. Today, it's over 500 people out there. That's a lot. Every morning when I come into work, I see a whole swack of people waking up, putting their belongings away. So if anything, we need more apartments. Rent around here for a 1-bedroom, it's about $2,000, $1,500. Where are they going to get money to pay for that? So yeah, I don't like fast foods, liquor stores. One of my grandkids said, you know what, there's a liquor store on every street. How come we have so much liquor stores in our community? Somebody says, what is a friendship center? Okay, if you know what a band looks after their own band members. Cowichan Band looks after Cowichan tribe members. Friendship centers, we can service somebody from Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, Halifax, as long as they have a status card. We service Métis and Inuit people as well. So as long as they walk in and they have a status card with a number on there, we can service them. That's what a friendship center is. We have addictions counselors, family support workers, justice workers, employment and training programs. That's what I do. We have a lot of advocacy for people, as our people, don't know how to speak for themselves or don't understand some of the language that's being used. So that's what a friendship center does.
Thank you, Lucy. I'm reminded of an example in terms of homelessness from it's very different to your example, but from Paris, where a Parisian friend of mine, when I was last there, was telling me that there were approximately 6,000 homeless people in the city of Paris, but they only had homeless facilities in terms of a shelter for 2,000. So kind of based on almost an égalité, liberté, fraternité setup, which they have in France, the homeless community decided that they saw that the only fair way to really deal with this was that you would have 1 out of every 3 nights in the shelter. And for the other 2 nights, you would share it with another homeless person. So of the 6,000, 2,000 would be there the first night, another 2,000 would go for the second night, and the third 2,000 would go for the third night. And then they'd keep sort of returning back again and sharing it out in that way. And it really sort of demonstrated to me that, even with the most poverty-stricken poor people who on the desperate side of society would actually make a way of sharing what little there was out in a very, very equal and kind of, just an incredible way that spoke to how kind they were for their fellow citizens. And so you do find these struggles in many places, and communities that actually just try to make the best of the situation in the way that they can, and are just so sort of gracious about it, which was incredible. I see, Lucy, there were just some comments in the chat about your statements, if you want to read them there, and I just want to see if there's another question, or if there is another question, if you can just unmute yourself and you may ask it. I want to add that I actually lived in Alberta, in Edmonton, for a year when I was at school. So although I'm Australian born and I live in South Africa, I have a small Canadian experience. And BC is a wonderful, wonderful province. Deborah?
Yeah, if I can just say something briefly about I don't think it applies to where you are, Lucy, but in other parts, especially in cities, one of the parts of the housing crisis, certainly in the United States, is this concentration on car parking. And there's a fear that if more housing is built, there'll be more cars in the neighborhood. So people are against the construction of apartment buildings, and people who, for instance, a family where the children have moved off, there's an elderly couple, and they would like to rent out part of their house to people. It would give them some income. It would allow them to stay in their house. There's cases where they match young people with older people. So the young people have a cheaper place to live, but also help the older people with things they need help with. There's objections to that because there's a fear that there won't be enough space for the cars on the streets. There's not a space for the car parking. And certainly in Dhaka, we've seen, even though, as Shapla said, most people in Bangladesh cannot afford a car, every new apartment built basically has car parking on the ground floor or underground, and it's very expensive to build it, which raises the cost of the housing. But also, if just on average we have 6-story apartment buildings and the ground floor is for car parking, that's 1/6 of our housing stock that is going to park cars. And I think we all have seen places where we prioritize affordable housing for cars over affordable housing for people. And to me, that's a tragedy. It's horrific, and it is also extremely common. And part of the reason for having our alliance is to work together to fight things like that. That's our policies obviously should prioritize people. Cars are supposed to be a tool to help people. They land up becoming a way that we destroy other people. We take away their housing. Everything becomes about servicing the car, and people will go to work partly in order to buy the car that gets them to work. So I know it doesn't reply probably to where you are, Lucy, but I think for a lot of us, part of the housing crisis is the emphasis on housing cars instead of housing people.
Thank you, Deborah. Were there any other comments or questions from our participants? Shia.
Sorry, while people are thinking of questions, before I get to that, sorry, one question. I just wanted to quickly remark what Allison said about empty land, just very briefly. There's building tax and there's land tax. If you have a land tax, you tax unused pieces of land at a high rate, which encourages people to develop on the land. Because what developers do is they buy land and they wait until that part of the city becomes more popular before they build anything. So you have this empty land sitting around, and one of the ways you deal with that is to heavily tax, not obviously public space, we want the public space, but plots of land that are meant for buildings that people are not allowed to enter. You tax them heavily to encourage the owner of that piece of land to build housing on it. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I just wanted to share one of the sharing from a friend in Maldives, where she shared that how the need for spaces for cars, particularly parking, world, because Mali is a small island, and even despite that, the largest distance is walkable. The demand for cars are so high that they are dismantling symmetries uh, uh, to build parking lots. So I just wanted to share how it is literally taking over sense of place and sense of into like taking not just from living people, from people and spirits that are no more with us, that the cars are taking away those species. So yeah, we need to be thinking to how our ideas are being, our ideas of space and reality is being taken away, and in a lot of sense, cars could be that symbol of materialism and colonialism and capitalist mindset that we are in at the moment. I just wanted to say that. I also see that Ruben has a question for me right now. So, Ruben, do you want to speak that up? Should I just read it?
Yeah, sure. I want to speak. Anyways, I have a question. So, looking at the community in Kathmandu, where we can see due to lots of motorization and vehicle-centric structures, most of the local community have been migrated to different area, leaving all their cultural belief and their community that they used to have. So. To revive those community where there are only less community left, and to bring such environment in such centric area, it's a great challenge for us. And with that challenge, there are lots of conflicting issues regarding how are we gonna pedestrianize in such a chaotic situation. So how have you been handling in such situation, and how are the community giving you feedbacks on these things? That's what my question is. Yeah.
Thank you, Ruben. Definitely. So, one of the communities of Kathmandu that has been doing weekly car free every Saturday is Hardy now, and it has been almost 2 years since that started. And there are other communities who are aspired by that community coming together every Saturday, children's finding space, families coming together to do, even to do business, to cook food together and build some family income. And a lot of other communities are inspired to do that. But what they see is only the physical actions. So what we are discussing is, particularly when we are reaching to these new communities, we are saying that this convening is not to do some event to earn the living. It is that the event that we are doing, or this actions that we are planning, is for the sense of convening. So in a broader sense, unless we do not go deep enough into figuring out where we are and why is it that the local communities have lost the sense of place and are not attached to the place anymore. I think a broader sense of place, unless people who find value and their identity to the place comes about, pedestrianization will quite be difficult, because if there is a sense of rental mindset, out of conversation, one of the things came is that if the local communities has a rental mindset where instead of doing something or using the land as part of their life, or using the property as part of their living, and if they are using that land or the house as a rental space and living the life somewhere else, or the lifestyle or the source of income somewhere else, and the building becomes just a source of income, this coming together and sense of place and life and living will not sync together. So we have to go further deep into those conversations, which then will lead us into why the sense of place and the life can be at the same point. So yeah, we have to just slow down and have deeper conversations for that.
I still remember, so we have a community discussion in our area as well, and they said that for this pedestrianization process, it's really difficult to make all the community people happy. Someone is gonna be sad about the pedestrianization process. So we had that challenge, but despite of that, we are closely working with the community itself, and despite there is less people, we are gonna. I think so. We are gonna, as discussed before, we are gonna prioritize the local aesthetics, the importance that they have, and with that, we are gonna move forward. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we've reached the time where we need to start to wrap things up, and I wanted to ask Lucy if I can put you on the spot a little, but I know that you're well skilled at this. If you could provide us with a closing prayer. You're muted.
All right. What I'm going to share is this is what we do sometimes when we're going to face a tough day. Is I use an abalone shell filled with sage. I cut it up into small pieces, and I also grab cedar branches and I cut it up into little pieces and I light it. I put my hand over the smoke and I grab the smoke and I will put it over my head so that I can think more clearly, make better decisions. I will grab the smoke and ask the Creator to bless my eyes so I can see what I need to see. I will grab some smoke and I will cover my ears so I can hear what I need to hear. Say another prayer, grab some smoke, put it on your mouth so you can say the words that you need to say. Then you can grab the smoke and put it down your arms and brush away all the bad stressors, the worries. Grab more smoke, brush down your chest, down to your legs. Grab smoke, put it on your back, brush it down your back of your legs. Grab smoke, put it over your heart to protect your heart from all the pain that you might be facing in the day, the stresses, the worries that you might be feeling. Then once you're done, you just thank the Creator for the sage, for the cedar, for the air that we breathe, that the food that's going to nourish our body, for the water that we drink. Just be grateful for the day. Thank the ancestors for this beautiful day. I thank the ancestors for helping me meet new friends from all over the world. I raise my hands to my ancestors, my creators, my grandmothers, my grandfathers, for letting me wake up another day on Mother Earth. I ask that you shine a healing light on everybody that may need it. If they're in a hospital, if they're in institutions, please help pave the way for them. I raise my hands to you for everything that you are and everything that you do. And please protect everybody that was in this meeting today. Guide them, inspire them, help them to walk with more confidence. All my relations.
Thank you, Lucy. That was most inspirational and moving. A very nice way to close off the meeting based on what we've heard today. So thank you so much. I want to also give a special thank you to Freeba for doing the bulk of the organizing of this amazing webinar and finding all these special and incredible people to come along and inviting them to come and speak. And with that, Friba, can I pass over to you just to say one or two last words? And thank you all for attending. And over to you, Friba.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you everyone for joining us today. It was a beautiful space coming from around the world talking about localization. I want to thank Shail for talking about keeping the spirit of communities alive in Nepal, and he really left us with some deep and thoughtful questions to leave the room. And thank you, Shapla and Asan, for talking about incredible initiatives you're doing to relocalize culture and economy in Bangladesh. And Lucy, when you were talking, the whole room was awake and could listen to you for hours, I could say. I mean, it really happens in online events. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your indigenous knowledge with us. And thank you, Laila. Though being stuck in traffic, you talked about amazing things you do. Laila is a brilliant and a revolutionary young lady from Pakistan. She's a filmmaker currently based in Dubai. Laila, if you could put the link of your company in the chat so that everyone can see and explore more what documentaries you work on. And yeah, thank you again for coming together this morning. Please stay connected and follow us on social media, Car-Free Cities Alliance. We're more than happy to come again with another webinar and see you all next time. Thank you so much for joining us today.